Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Nerds of the North, and we're going to do a special little video presentation here. What we're going to do here is I'm going to take you through my Roll20 custom Pathfinder campaign. It's a campaign I call Legend of the Arcadian Sky-Knights. This campaign has evolved from something I had originally set up and ran from Con Bravo. So let's jump in. We'll take a look here, and I will walk you all through. Also, do a better intro video once we're inside. Let's see. Turn the camera on, and and turn camera off. Turn camera on. Camera's on. Okay. Why am I not seeing myself? Eek. Eek. Integrated webcam. Yeah, use the integrated webcam. Save. Hello. Well. Okay, let's go and do this. Screen share. Launch campaign. Okay, everyone. Welcome back. This is my Pathfinder campaign, Legend of the Arcadian Sky-Knights. Originally, it was called Legend of the Celestial Sky-Knights, so if I happen to say anything wrong, that's the reason you know why. Now, forgive the crudity of this drawing. This is hand-drawn by me, and I just scan the image into Roll20, or take a photo of the image pretty much, and then drop it into Roll20 here, and we use it from there. And it's offside, go figure. There we go. There's the map. All right, so what do we see here on the screen? This is the Roll20 system. Aside from all my hot bars at the top, this is Roll20. In a nutshell, you have your controls down the side, so your pointers, what texture layer you plan on being on, whether you want a drawing tool, your magnification. This creates a ruler where you can measure distance. You can reveal and hide certain areas. This is the fantastic initiative order counter. This will pop up so you can keep track of all the initiatives and then just click people through. So everybody, all your players will know exactly what's going on. We have a dice roller here. So you can see you just pick your dice, go through, and it'll do what you need to do. Or you can come down here into the text bar and do something like, if you want to send a roll that only the game master can see, you type GM roll, and we'll go with 1d20 plus 3. Basic initiative roll. So that roll, as you can see here, it is sent to the dungeon master, so only the dungeon master will be able to see it, which in this case I am currently logged in as. Now, if I wanted to send it for everybody to see, I could just type /roll 1d20 plus 3. And that now has appeared out for everybody. If you take the time to look through the Wikipedia for Roll20, you can see that you can create custom macros, which are what these are down here. I'll just show you what this one does. This is my PC passive perception. So what this does is it's a role private to me where I will generate my individual players' passive perception rolls. So when we're walking through a dungeon, rather than having my players constantly step around every single corner, move 5 feet, and then, okay, I'm going to search for traps, move another 5 feet. All right, I'm searching for traps again. I create a passive perception roll, so when they approach something that I have hidden on the map, I hit the passive perception, and based upon their scores, I will see if someone notices it, if someone gets the chance to do a proper search. Like if they come close to what the score is, I'll get them to do a search. If they flat out see it because they've rolled an amazing score, then they flat out see it. It just allows something that they can speed the game up with. But here we go. This is Arcadia. Now, Arcadia is a little bit of a special world to me. entirely because I have made it myself. It's a project I've been working on for the past 4.5 years, and it's taken me a long, long time, and it really hasn't gone anywhere at all, which is quite unfortunate. But, you know, great pieces that you're working on, they're going to take time. It's just bound to happen that way. You can't rush them, because if you rush something like this, it's going to turn out that you're not happy with it. And if you're not happy with it, well, what are you doing, right? That's just my personal opinion. Now, unfortunately, I can't seem to find my notebook sitting around here that I had all the information I was going to read. So I'll just go off the top of my head, which is, ironically, what I've been doing for this entire campaign. Now, what I do with this campaign system is my players come into this world, and through their characters, let me just go over here. I'll show you some of their characters. So we have up here, we're currently on the chat window. You can then search the library for tokens and artwork and photos that you've put in. And this is the journals page. So you see here, I have all these different notes that are in. That I can look at them and see exactly what the people have found. So this is some of the treasure that they've managed to find just from one dungeon. And I can save this, and when the players need to see it, I can just click Show to Player, and the players will all have it pinged to their screens. And jumping into this folder here with the PCs, here we go. We have Nemia de Villefort. This is one of our 2 paladins in the game. A lawful good character. Currently, she began the campaign as a paladin of Yomide. However, through a little bit of trickery by one of our other players, and the fact that her and one of our newer players are really bonding well together, they're really close character-wise, she became the girl's bodyguard and has actually begun the first ever Order of Pharasma, which is the neutral goddess, neutral god of death. Our next character here, this is Onise. Onise Morte d'Amour is her full name. She is a true necromancer. I've customized the D&D 3.5 class to be able to bring it into Pathfinder and have it relatively seamlessly come in. Now, I did find all this information already pre-done. I've just had to adjust 1 or 2 things to make it balance out in my game. She has her little sprite, Belle, as her familiar. And the interesting thing with this is this character is actually a friend of mine who has brought a lineage of characters together. Every role-playing game that he's played via the old Dungeons and Dragons rule set, he's made a member of what he calls the Morte d'Amour family. If he enters a friend's campaign and that friend has put a lot of time and effort and pretty much created their own baby of a story, something that they've put a lot of effort and a lot of pride into, he will create a Morte d'Amour, which is his own personal legacy of characters to bring into the world. He is a chaotic, neutral necromancer. Becoming a true necromancer, he's got levels in wizard, he's got levels in cleric, and he's got levels in true necromancy. We have here, this is Roland, and the image doesn't do him justice because Roland is currently walking around in a suit of mithril plate armor. But he is our ranger. He has a magic bow that shoots bolts of energy, along with his standard composite longbow. He does have a great sword strapped to his back as well, so he's pretty good in close combat. His favorite enemies would be the undead and dragons, and those fit perfectly fine in this campaign. A lot of people would suggest, as dungeon masters, don't let your rangers pick a preferred enemy or a favorite enemy without actually having a valid reason for it. My players have earned the title Dragon Slayer for slaying 2 dragons at once, a mother adult and a young child. So they are quite discerning and earned the title of Dragon Slayer. So I have allowed them at that point to be able to pick up preferred enemy dragons. Something I'm regretting, but oh well. Here we go. We have Venya de Villefort, and we actually have someone who has background story. Yay! Thank you very much, because it makes it so much easier for me to see what's going on. This is, as you can tell by the names, the sister of Nemia, our other paladin. Orphaned at a young age, Venya grew with her twin sister Nemia in the dog-eat-dog world of the slums. She quickly gained a reputation as a fierce fighter and enforcer. After she killed an associate in a brawl, she joined the Order of Yomide to avoid persecution. Under the tutelage of the elder paladins, she reformed her criminal ways and became a zealous member of the Order. She was soon assigned to seek out and destroy the Order's foes, a task for which she has shown a certain affinity. Yeah, because she's carrying a bardiche that she's currently enchanted to be a holy bardiche, and is a real pain in the butt, because that means she's got reach, and it's a pain in the butt to sometimes get in close to being able to deal with everybody else. Now, there's a tag team going on here. Venya does damage. Nemia is a shield wall. Anybody standing close to Nemia gets a massive shield boost. I'm dealing with a party of people who have an AC of approximately 30 to 35, depending on what buffs they have currently going on. Now, that's not saying that my campaign is currently way overpowered. When you see what I put them up against, it's kind of deserving that they have an AC of this high. They are also level 15 at this point, 14 or 15. We started this campaign at 6th level. So we've gone quite a ways. Now, I am running everybody on the fast track of experience. So after 25 sessions, we have created the characters that we see before us. And our last but not least, we have Vimes, a character who you can kind of pick it up from his appearance there, is actually a half-dragon. That is because Lord Vimes fell in combat against a pair of vampires, and c'est la vie. You know, vampire burned him with a fireball. He fell dead. They were not able to resurrect him because they did not have the money to afford a resurrection. What they were able to afford was a reincarnate. And he reincarnated as a silver half-dragon, which is great. Vimes, by the way, is a inquisitor and numerous other classes. They have multi-classed quite a lot. Now, in Roll20, you can select the character sheet that you're going to be using, and it'll program everything into the game here for you. We don't use it because we find the ones that we are available right now, we just don't fully like. I've tried creating my custom one, which is what you see up here, Pathfinder character sheet. That's still a work in progress, so it's not worth showing. But what we do is we have a programmed Excel spreadsheet that has all the formulas set up for a character sheet, and we enter our data in there. And so when my players are playing, they have in one window the Roll20 set up, and in a second window they have their character sheet, so they can pull off any information that they need. It kind of puts a little bit of work on my players to be able to make sure that when they level up, they change all their macros in Roll20 to make sure everything works correctly. But considering the amount of work I have to do as the GM to make sure that their story runs perfectly fine for them, I don't think that's a problem. So let's take a little bit more of a look through the Roll20 system. Up here we have our page toolbar. This shows us all of our different maps. Now I have a bunch of archived maps down here. Mostly these are areas that they've fought on before and we're not really going back to right away, but I'm keeping them just in case they are needed. As well as this is a campaign, I'm actually looking at tweaking it and adjusting it so that I can keep this campaign permanently and run it for other people. So I'll have everything already set, ready to go, the locations, and go from there. So it's just something I want to keep around because I've put so much effort and work into this. I'm kind of proud of this campaign. This is the first main map that they were on. This was our capital city, but it's currently been destroyed, or has it? They haven't really gone back to figure out exactly what's gone on since they were chased away. So you can do fun stuff like this. If you've drawn a map, you can enter in text-based information about it, mark off certain things. So it just makes it a little bit easier. This, however, is where everybody currently stays. Show it first as an island format. This here is the island of Vastrova. Vastrova is a, here we go, we can see it all now. Vastrova is a floating island in the sky because in this world there was a massive magical eruption 2,000 years ago, and it rent the magical energies asunder. So the crystal quartz mountains, as they were called, have taken to the sky and now float around the world. Well, one of them we have here. We have the fantastic fortress area that they've built. Now, I'm pretty crappy at drawing, so this is their castle of Tirezlin, which is the legendary home of the Sky-Knights, a group of warriors of legend from this world. We have one barracks building set up here for the army that they are recruiting, and a second barracks building set up for the Order of Pharasma that Nemia is creating, along with Onise, who is actually, I forgot to mention, champion of Pharasma. She was brought in from another realm to be Pharasma's champion in this world, to bring the balance between life and death back into proper line. Because right now, there's been a lot of people using the undead and just pretty much spitting on Pharasma's Pharasma's people, the characters that she looks after. She looks after the dead, so she brought Onise in to try and deal with that. Down here, we've discovered this is actually a fortress full of sentient gorilla people who have now allied themselves with the Sky-Knights. It's kind of hard to see here, but there's the stone walling next to the river here. This is the fortified barricade wall. So enemies would have to try and siege through or land directly inside to be able to get at the people of Tirezlin. Primarily, this wall was set up to keep the dinosaurs out. This is a really wild world with a lot of magic. If it's found in a Pathfinder book, it tends to be able to be possible. So there are dinosaurs roaming around on this island, along with many, many other types of creatures. What do we have here for our next map? We have Tirezlin itself. Now, one of our players has taken it upon himself to be the artistic designer of this entire fortress. He's done a lot of work putting in all these side images and setting it up so it looks like a proper castle, proper palace. As you can see, I've kind of blocked out the name of what this castle originally was, because it's just borrowed artwork for the purpose of a visual appealing thing that we can use. And that's all it is. It's borrowed art. It's one of the things you can do. You can just upload an image and go from there. Sometimes you don't have a very good time lining it up to the snap grid like we have here, but it just manages to work. Now, you can see here when I click on this character here, this is what did Venya name her? Mount. I can't remember. It's some silly name, as you can tell by looking at the mounts of Riptor. Onise's wyvern is Nike. Can't remember what Roland's is. I think it's Chex-Mex. Not 100% sure. They're really silly names, but I don't care too much. These are what are called token macros, a token macro bar up here. So by clicking on a token, I can select here, I'll click the claw attack. And we heard that little beep chime. So let's head over to the chat system. And here we go. Claw attack. So great. The claw attack scored a natural 20 on to hit, and it is dealing 18 points of damage. Nope, sorry. Natural 20 to hit here. And it rolled 18 for its second hit. And there we go. Scroll down, and it dealt 7 damage on the first strike and 6 damage on the second strike. That's how I have it programmed into the macro. Just so that, rather than having to type out, / roll d20 plus bonuses and again, and then to do the damage rolls, doing it as a macro is not faster for being run in game, and just click, you're good to go. So let's do a quick run through here. We have the Wyvern stalls because our Sky-Knights, they ride dragons, specifically a specific breed of Wyvern that they've managed to rescue the eggs from a warlord. And they've befriended them through carrying them and forming a telepathic bond with them. And this Wyvern's actually hatched at a moment to save the Sky-Knights from a certain death when their airship exploded. Moving in, we have our throne room. We have guardsmen set up. We have our captain of the guard here. This is Vimes's wife, who's currently quite pissed off at him and has Vimes in the doghouse. We have some tokens that I've borrowed from the Maid RPG to act as our servants. We have a natural hot spring here. We have a bathhouse that's been set up. This is a portal circle that allows the Sky-Knights to teleport in, out, and around. As you can see, I've got some tokens here dragged off to the side. What you're seeing in this grayed out section is what's called, this is what's the dynamic lighting layer. So everything inside here you'll be able to see. Like, for example, here I'll click on Venya's token, and with a quick command, this is all my players can see on the screen. Do that again. So they can't see what's off to the side here. I can see what's off to the side because you're looking through as the Dungeon Master with Dungeon Master privileges. So you guys are seeing everything. Aren't you lucky? But just setting it up, we have a training yard here set up. We have more guards at the gatehouse. We have our current bunking area for our guards with an armory set up. Armory is very, very important to have because it allows our paladins to don their armor much faster because there's all the equipment needed in the armory for them to be able to do so. Scrolling through, we have our second level here. Now, this is where a lot of the bedrooms and everything are. As you can see, our one paladin, Nemia, has a very good fascination with pink, likes how her room looks, and is currently having a hard time reading books that are, for lack of a better term, smut, and a paladin shouldn't be reading it. But she's kind of been hooked in because the first book she started reading had a curse on it. So she's been dealing with that, and the party's been trying to get the other books away from her, but hasn't worked out too well. We have our war room here. This is where we do a lot of the briefing, figuring everything out. We have our lore master, Leonard, here, named that way in honor of the late Leonard Nimoy. We have our necromancer's bedroom up here. She took the tower, and this is just occupying where the tower space is. More servants, rooms for the servants. We have a holy sanctum with a symbol of Yomide, which is kind of pointless now because neither one of our paladins follow Yomide anymore. As I said, Nemia follows Pharasma, and Venya has just recently changed and decided to dedicate herself in the service of Lord Bahamut, god of dragons. So we have a dining hall, we have a kitchen area up here, we have all the different bedrooms, guest bedrooms, some extra guards bedrooms down here. We have a greenhouse set up. This actually is the head of a dragon that one of the many dragons that these people have killed. Actually, this is the third full dragon that they have killed. So they decided to claim the head, mount it up over the castle as a warning to others. Now, down here in the catacombs, our necromancer has set up a private little laboratory, and there's a hidden wall here with the information we can see to be able to deal with the wall. We have a prisoner here. Now, this is one of the minions that they had fought, and as you can see the stats numbers that have shown up here, this is all stuff that you can program in. So I'll jump in to click on the token. It's called the Defender of Angeron, which is a character I have made. This number, the blue number up here for me, represents, because he's a monk, this represents his ki pool. Red represents his health. and green represents his armor class. That's the term I'm looking for. So we have that person set up there. There should actually be a health bar showing up, but I can't remember what his full health is. I'll have to tweak that back afterwards. What you can see up here is these are their attacks that this man can get. So let's do, here we go, a flurry of blows attack. So with the macro that I've programmed out, I would type in, who am I attacking? So let's say I'm attacking Vimes. And there we go, attacking Vimes, and 5 attacks came out versus AC, the damages that would correspond to them, or if any of them were critical hits, like we see here, 35 was a critical hit. So 1, 2, 3, 4th attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4th attack. Would a 23 still hit? And if we look at Vimes's character, his AC is 31. The players, for some reason, use blue for their AC. I don't understand why, but it makes sense. They do it whatever way works well for them. So we can see that that would not hit. Therefore, he does not get the critical damage. It's just the standard damage. It allows me to have all these things typed out in one simple strike. It's a little bit complicated to understand, but it's a lot quicker than me having to type everything out. And when you're playing campaigns, that combat can take a long time. Speed is the thing. As you can see down here in our catacombs, we have a statue of Bahamut that is radiating light. And this is actually a statue that's been communicating with our paladin, Venya. Hence why Venya has now sworn herself to be a paladin of Bahamut. We also have our supply vault in case the castle came under siege and we needed to shrink in behind the walls. So there's food, there's water, there's ammunition, there's supplies, and everything stored down here. Now let's take a look at another page here for you. This is a fun one. This was a dungeon I had them run through, and this dungeon, well, let's just say this dungeon is massive. There we go. Absolutely massive, this dungeon. Took them quite the long time to be able to get through it. And if I can find one of the party members inside here, trying to remember if they actually, yes, there they are. There's the party where the dragon god appeared from. So if I just drag the dragon god off the screen here for a second. Now, I'll take control of one of these people, and we'll move her around. Let's say we'll move her down to here. You can see the dynamic lighting layer react a little bit, but if I were to drop into lighting form, this is one of the major advantages of playing with Roll20. Dynamic lighting. If you have a membership to Roll20 to the point where you're able to get access to the dynamic lighting system, which I highly recommend, imagine what your players will feel like when you're when they're walking through a dungeon, and this is how the dungeon is revealed to them. They can't move past dynamic lighting walls. Like, they can't see that that character is there from this alone. They don't see the health bar. But, oh no, there's something there, and battle begins. So, trying to work your way around, and it is so much fun. See, I can't jump through this wall here, because, well, it's dynamic lighting layer. It's not letting me. I have it set so you can't even drag your character past this. So when you're trying to explore the dungeons and really figure out what's going on, when you have dynamic lighting on, your players will get lost. And it's really funny because as a dungeon master, when you're looking at everything, you know exactly where they have to go. But your players can't see crap. They don't know where they're supposed to be going. So it's quite an interesting experience. And this event that happened here, they tried to intervene on a summon that was taking place. However, this baddie right here, Lord Darkmantle, nope, that's not him. There's Lord Darkmantle. This baddie right here, he managed to sacrifice his paladin, or his anti-paladins, and that was just enough to be able to break the summon into full fruition, allowing access to the world of Angeron. Angeron is a dragon god that I've created for this campaign. And as you can see, 665 hit points with an AC of 41. He has a 10-foot aura around him of pure fire, and he melts stone because he is a great red dragon. Just to show you what I mean by this, let's take a look at his breath weapon. There you go, 60-foot cone of fire for 139 points of damage. Not a character that the party is currently able to deal with, which is why they really needed to stop this summon from happening. Now that the summon has happened, however, we continue on our way and we see where the story goes from here. Now he's taken over the world. He has got the dragons doing his bidding, and target number 1 on his hit list is going to be the Sky-Knights, because he has a grudge, an ancient grudge with Bahamut, who imprisoned him away out of this world, and only managed to succeed in doing so with the success of the Sky-Knights. This here is another dungeon that we had, a little bit of a dragon's lair, and this is where we discovered we had a problem, because our fantastic paladin, Nemia, likes mouthing off to characters. And as you can see here, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see the token a little bit better. This is Lord Skara. Lord Skara was sitting on his throne, perfectly at peace with the world, until the Sky-Knights stormed into his throne room. Like, excuse me, what's going on here? Yes, the entrance was in this dungeon. They just happened to stumble across it, and down they went. Well, Nemia began to sass and smart mouth and bicker with Lord Skara. Lord Skara did not like this, did not like it one bit. So he swore, like, okay, you think you're so smart, you think you can handle it? Lord Skara transcended to his true form. So I just moved Lord Skara off the map so they couldn't see him. The new Lord Skara model appeared, and the first thing that Lord Skara did was this. Boom. Now that vaporized the 3 elite skeletons that our necromancer had summoned, causing a lot of trouble between her and her goddess. The only reason the party survived is that Vimes was carrying a teleportation recall stone that allowed them to instantly access a dimension door powerful enough to take them back to the portal. So they managed to sneak through and get away from Lord Skara. However, not before Lord Skara, or old, bald, and smelly, as Nemia puts it, has gotten quite the grudge against the Sky-Knights and has hunting Nemia specifically. But this is, this is Roll20 for you. This is what makes it so much easier for a dungeon master to be able to get the game together and work things around with his players. I have, as you can see here, I have a folder. This is where all my PC characters are kept, and this is for their specific tokens. But if we were to jump into our NPCs, I have it split up, and this makes it so much easier for organization. I have the 1 Evil Order of the Ethereum, I have the Legion of Angeron, and I have the Legion of the Sky-Knights. So as you see, I've broken it down into levels here. Here we go. Here's the stats for Lord Skara. And it's just something I can store in here so I can refer back and forth to. So in a combat, I'll go, okay, well, what spell do I need? I'm going to cast... I'm going to cast Minor Image and see if I can confuse my players. So it gives me all the details I need for the spells. This is all information that I can put in. For example, I'll just click on the edit screen here. So it's only available. This page is only available to me, the Dungeon Master. It can only be edited and controlled by me, the Dungeon Master. And just down here in the bio, I put all the information I got from the character generator from when I generated this specific dragon. And at the same time, if we scroll down, I can put only my certain notes in here that only myself, the GM, will see. And this option is allowing it to link it to a token, which is why you see that these specific action abilities that I've programmed in. And when I say it takes a lot of work to do things, let's do this. So let's do a bite attack. So I'm going to roll the bite attack. There's your bite attack on screen. Now, what did I actually have to do for a bite attack? There's the code to get a bite attack to work. So whatever you enter into the macro, this is just, rather than me typing out all of this, I program it into the macro. With a click of a button, it shows up, and it's so much easier. So it takes a lot of work to be able to do everything properly planned out ahead of time, but as a dungeon master, you'll be doing this anyways. You'll be creating all these things in little handout notes and quick cards and planning out your campaign. Well, you can plan it out digitally, save all your character files, and fantastic, good to go. You've got everything saved, and say I wanted to add, say they're getting ready into this fight, and I wanted to have a character jump around the corner here. So I'll pull out one of the monks. I just drag the monk over, drop, and there we go. I've got a new monk. There we go. I've got a monk standing down here now. And all these different attacks that the monk can have, or that I've programmed onto the character. So this is one of the benefits. It's a real strength for the Dungeon Master, especially when your party is spread out. I have 2 players from the United States. I believe they're each in different time zones. I have myself in the Eastern time zone. I have another player currently in the Eastern time zone. I have a player in the Pacific time zone, and we have one of our other players coming to us from Australia. So it has allowed this group of gamers across the entire globe to get together and be able to play a role-playing game. Now, when I say that we've done 25 sessions of this game, I mean 25 straight weeks. We've only had 3 failed attendance show-ups, and they're no fault of anybody's. One player was sick, could not make it to the game, and the moment that we were at that time was pivotal enough to the story that we decided, okay, stop, we're not going to have a game this week. So we held off because we needed to have that player in on part of the story. Because, as I've said earlier, my players dictate the story, and I scramble along and make sure that they have a good, solid world they're going to be able to enjoy themselves in. The other 2 times that we've had not the full party show up, it wasn't rough enough that we couldn't continue on. Actually, it was 3 times. One of our players had tickets to go to PAX, or Penny Arcade Expo. So off he went and enjoyed himself at PAX. We made do without his character for the weekend. We had, or for those 2 days, we had one of the other party members or a friend of one of the party members come in, take over the character for a day. And, my player was perfectly fine with that. Then we had once our character, he lost his internet connection halfway through the game, and we just, we powered on with what we could do. We said that the character locked herself up in her bedroom, and she was there for the rest of the night. So, because we didn't know what was going on, we just continued on without her. So it's allowing you to get your party together. You don't have to be sitting specifically around a table. You can sit around and do everything else as you need to. Here's a little treat for everybody. They think that they found the Grand Commander of the army, and who they think the Grand Commander is, at first they thought it was Lord Craven. Then they thought it was Lord Skara. Truth be told, it's right here. This is one of the final bosses in the game. It's a name that they've heard before, but it was mentioned in our very first game. Whether or not they remember, I don't know. If they happen to be watching this video, congratulations. You got a little bit of a sneak peek at what's coming ahead of you. Commander Eliza El Shadara. She's coming back. and she's coming for the Sky-Knights. So some other quick features before we finish this broadcast video. As you can see, we're in the journal, so you can program everything out that you need here. I have the Sky-Knight's genealogy, what weapon matches up to what original Sky-Knight, what original Sky-Knight is a reincarnation of one of our new characters. Quick note here that Venya has obtained 50 clerics and 10 high priests for the Order of Bahamut. And that was just from situations that she role-played through inside one of the temples. We have a ransom note, which is how I had to get the term, don't put your characters on the plot railroad. Well, I needed to get them to go and do something, so I kidnapped 2 of their wives. And this is the letter that they got delivered to them, and it's where Supreme Lord Craven Darkmantle came from. It's where the Warlord Grazkul came from. So all this stuff is, I needed to get the party to go and do something, so I came up with this, and they did it. It's pretty cool. This is a note that they got revealing the location of the Fortress of the Sky-Knights. So it's just little bits and pieces that I can save onto. This is our current, where we've currently gotten in the game. Priority number 1, find God-killing weapons and method to be able to take down Angeron. And this is notes that one of my players has been keeping. Vimes' war notes, as you can see. So this is what Vimes has been keeping a hold of. And, trying to figure out, so he has everything in order. So we figure out exactly what we need to do, what the party needs to do, so they can keep track of what's going on. Because there's a lot going on here, and it's very, very easy to get sidetracked. I have not yet detailed out their Order of Pharasma or their Order of Bahamut. Those are projects that I will be working on, and they will be enjoying them later. Now we get to a fun part here. This is the jukebox. When you jump in here, you can scan for background music, sound effects, or all music. And what this does is it searches SoundCloud to be able to find all the music that you need. Prime example, let's see, we jump into a haunted forest. And I play this. Or say we jump into a graveyard. And this would begin playing. Or into the dungeon. And this is what the players are listening to as we play through the dungeon. Usually I keep the volume nice and low for them, so it'd be playing kind of like this. Just haunting mysteriousness going on in the background. Then there's other times where I've needed something completely silly and stupid, and I've just played something completely silly and stupid. For example, the Necromancer sprite got drunk on wine one day and was dancing around singing Call My Name and I'll Be There from the Americanized Sailor Moon album. And we found that song on YouTube, played it through over the speaker system, over the microphone for them, and the party got quite the laugh at just making fun of how much of a nerd I am. You have the ability here to be able to create decks for if you're using, say, a deck of many things, rollable tables for random encounters, and then with your settings, this is where you can create the general macros that you see down here at the bottom. How do you want your name to show up as, the master music volume level for the game, how does the system actually work, whether you want 3D dice enabled or not. So let's see, I'll enable 3D dice just to show you what they look like, and flurry of blows with a test character. There we go, 3D dice. That's how it currently works. Let's do, you know what, let's 3D dice something that's a lot more fun to look at. Let's jump back to the Descent of Madness. Yes, the map's big enough, sometimes even I get lost on it. Zoom out. There we go. Let's 3D dice the breath weapon. Isn't that cool? We actually have one player that does use 3D dice. Sometimes it can slow the system down, so I personally don't like using it, especially when you're rolling a lot of dice. But, you know, to each their own. And you can just set other different items down here. Now, it does have an option in Roll20 that you can use your webcam chat. So rather than having my little image show up down here as the Dungeon Master from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon show, I could click this and it would be my webcam that would jump in there and my microphone that would take over. But I use a different audio program for when we're playing because we're all members on the specific server. So it's just easier for us to use what we already know. So this is your quick look through of my Roll20 campaign. And as you can, quick little teaser, this is a newer area up here that I've just modified the old dungeon and have been setting it up for them for a new place for them to jump into. I have locked it off so they can't go down past here just by throwing stone walls up over the doorways, so there's no way that they can get into the rest of the dungeon. I've just got it set for the little bit that I need it set up for. And this is all clip art that you can find in the Roll20 token library. Your generic torch that I've programmed into the torch to have a light radius, so it works with my dynamic lighting layers. And let's just see here. I'll grab one of the characters. Let's grab, no, Vimes has major low, Vimes has major low light vision, so we'll drag him up. And it's just to show you. This is the low light vision system that Vimes is using. We're to put him in an area that doesn't actually have any light. You can still see everything very, very faintly. That's what low light vision does. So you can still find his way around. But this is just a little show of dynamic lighting. I have begun to ramble. I do that a lot. It's time to end this video. So if you have a Dungeons and Dragons group and you are seriously considering trying to find a different way to get your table together to be able to go out and do games, I highly, highly recommend Roll20.net. It's a fantastic system. You can link it up with Google Hangouts if you want to play through there, or you can play through their own personal video chat system, or do it the way we do and have a chat system running on the side. But that is just how you'd end up doing it. Okay, everyone, this is Nerds of the North. I'm going to edit this video a little bit so I can get rid of some of the rambling before I put it up. But there we go. That was a quick walkthrough of my Legends of the Arcadian Sky-Knights, a campaign that I began July of 2014 as a game that I could bring to Con Bravo, an event in Hamilton, Ontario, for all the online personalities. It was a big gaming convention, and I ran that campaign there over 3 days with a bunch of random convention goers each time. It turned out to be a lot of fun. A lot of people enjoyed it, so I decided to work on it. And how we ended up getting to this was I actually joined this fantastic group of players, and I was a player in a different person's campaign. That campaign ran to an end abruptly, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to be doing. And I had just mentioned, I actually have a custom campaign that I've been working on. If you guys like, I can run it and see how things go from there. And that was 25 weeks ago, and we haven't stopped since. We are about 10, maybe 12 weeks away from the end of this. When I say a week, we only play once a week. For me, in the Eastern time zone, we play from 11 p.m. until 4 a.m. every Friday night. So it's a little bit tiring, a little bit of work on the weekend. However, it's a lot of fun. And if you love doing campaigns like this, if you love role-playing in general, you're going to sit back, you're going to enjoy the fantastic Roll20 system, and that's what we've been doing. Let's jump in here and check out the control room quickly. So, are there any... Nope, nothing I needed to worry about here. So, there we go. Thank you for tuning in with me, everyone. I'm glad that we got to do what we could do, and I could show everyone what it's like to have this campaign system. And why is my camera not working? I will figure that out later. Anyways, take care, everyone. Nerds of the North will be back in a couple of days. Got some Blu-ray reviews I'm gonna be putting up. And if you have a Dungeon Master or you are a Dungeon Master yourself, consider Roll20.net. It's going to make a lot of things a lot easier for you. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your night.